Yo guys, and welcome back to another video, and today's video is a little bit different. We might be starting a series depending on how you guys like this and respond to it. It is called Football's Hottest Takes. That's right, I'm going to give you 3 of football's hottest takes, 1 of my personal opinion, 1 from you guys, and 1 just being talked about in the world of football today. With that being said, let's get right into it with my personal hot take, which is Newcastle United will win a Premier League within the next 5 years. That's right, next 5 years. Why do I think that? So, what Eddie Howe and what these new owners have done is something special so far from what we've seen. Newcastle United's points per ratio right now, ever since the takeovers happened, they're one of the best teams in the league and in just the football world in general. What Eddie Howe is doing there specifically, I think, is amazing. They are spending money, which is exactly what you expect when new ownership comes in. 40 plus mil on players like Sven Botman and Anthony Gordon, 70 mil on players like Alex Isak and Tonali. Unfortunately, Tonali is out for the next 10 months due to gambling. But what's happening there is special. As I said, they have the fan base to support them as well. They have one of the best fan bases in football. And there's clearly potential there as well. I mean, they just smashed PSG a couple weeks ago, unfortunately losing to Dortmund in the last week in the Champions League. But it is clear as day what they're trying to achieve there and what they are doing. I think what Eddie Howe is doing is something amazing. He has brought in players to build for the future like Alex Isak, Sven Botman. I can't say the same about Tonali because I think he'll personally go back to Milan. And AC Milan just needed to get him off the books really for financial things. And he's kind of already hinted that, never say never, but that's a whole nother thing. They have these players, and then you have experience in there as well. You have players like Callum Wilson, who is a natural goal scorer, who is scoring goals for fun right now for Newcastle. Kieran Trippier, who is a captain. He's a leader. He has seen it all, played in major tournaments, went overseas to Atletico. And Eddie Howe's also rebuilt careers off of players like Miguel Almiron, who didn't have a great start to his Newcastle career. Now he's like a guaranteed starter almost every single week and performing well. So it is a perfect balance there. There is experience, there's new and up-and-coming talent, and then you have the homegrown players like Matty Longstaff, and you have, as I said, one of the best fan bases in the world. There is no reason why Newcastle cannot reach their ceiling even higher and win trophies. They made a cup final last year, unfortunately losing to Manchester United. There's clearly something there, and it's a good problem to have for the Premier League. There's another team competing and just bringing some life into the Premier League, because we've seen Man City dominate for so many years now. It's nice to see other teams actually doing well. Of course, Arsenal are on the fly. You have Newcastle, who are doing well. Spurs are absolutely rolling this season. And unfortunately, Chelsea are down in 11th. But, well, as I said. But yeah, that is the first hot take, and as I said, that is mine, which is Newcastle United will win a Premier League. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Now let's get into the second hot take, which comes from one of you guys. It actually comes from my buddy Andrew, who has said Jude Bellingham will be better than Mbappe and Haaland with time. So let's talk about that. I agree with that slightly. I can see both ends of the coin, if I'm honest with you. So let's break it down a little bit, okay? Jude Bellingham, 20 years old, playing for Real Madrid. He has become a fan favorite. He's hit the ground running. I believe he has 14 goals in 13 games, something like that. Just scored 2 goals in El Clasico over the weekend, including a 90th minute winner. 4 90th minute goals already for Real Madrid. He's become a fan favorite, as I said. He is vital for both England and Real Madrid. At only 20 years old. That is crazy. 20 years old, and look at him. Ever since he came to Madrid, there's this new side of him. Arguably, but because he was scoring some goals last season for Borussia Dortmund, I believe. This is already a club high for him already, and we're only in still late October as of recording. So Jude Bellingham, there is definitely some special there. I genuinely think he's going to be the best product that England has ever produced, especially if he keeps up at the trajectory he is going. I don't see him leaving Real Madrid for years. The only way and only teams that are going to persuade Jude Bellingham to leave Madrid is if he comes back home to the Premier League to play for a club like City or even Manchester United, maybe, or even Chelsea, or anybody really who's up on the high right now at that time. But I don't see him leaving, honestly. He's instantly become a fan favorite. He has that captain mentality, leadership. He has everything you want in a player, and he still has so much room to grow, so much potential to fulfill at only 20 years old. He's playing kind of as a cam center forward position just behind Vinny Jr. and Rodrigo. We've only seen him for Dortmund and for England playing in a central midfield box-to-box type role. But as I said, this is something new to his game. These goals are coming out of nowhere. No one knew what they were getting when Bellingham came to Real Madrid. I'm sure they thought they were getting that box-to-box midfielder that's good at going forward and defending. But he is scoring goals this season. It's unbelievable what Jude Bellingham is doing right now. He's definitely on the high. But will he be better than Mbappe and Haaland? I don't know. So we're going to start with Kylian Mbappe first, who I believe is 24, 25 years old. I don't know off the top of my head. Two-time World Cup finalist, of course, winning one of them and scoring, becoming the first teenager to score in a final other than Pele. And he's won just about everything you can at PSG except the Champions League. He lost the Champions League final back in 2020, I believe, during COVID year to Bayern Munich. But that's the one thing he hasn't had yet at club level for only PSG. But speaking of that, that's what's holding him back right now. That talent's clearly there. He's a world-class player, and I personally think he's in a league of his own compared to Haaland and Bellingham. He's the Messi of the future, in my opinion. A lot of opinions in this, as you can see. But yeah, I think he needs to go to another team. I think he needs to go to Real Madrid, challenge himself, win some more trophies, win some silverware there, wherever he goes, whether it's La Liga or the Premier League, or even the Bundesliga, just something different, which we know his dream club is Real Madrid, which we don't understand why he hasn't gone there yet, because that is his dream club. They wanted him. They had everything set in stone for him to come, and he turned it down to stay at PSG, to become the highest paid player for them. He's already PSG's highest ever goal scorer, surpassing Edison Cavani, I believe. He has everything already at PSG. Yeah, he doesn't have a Champions League, but he'll have a better shot at that somewhere else like a Real Madrid. He needs to test himself in the middle of his prime. He needs to do it now while he can. I think next summer he needs to go to Real Madrid. He needs to go somewhere and challenge and win Champions Leagues and win league titles that are not in league. He's already about to become France's all-time leading goal scorer, surpassing Olivier Giroud. We know he's going to beat that record. He has multiple World Cups still in him. I'm sure he's going to win more international trophies, whether it's a World Cup or a Euros. But Mbappe clearly has a talent. He's world-class. He has everything you want in a player. He's fast. He can dribble. He can pass. He can shoot, play on the right, play on the left, play in the middle, or even behind a striker if you really want him to. He has everything you need. I do think he's better than Bellingham, and I think he could be in a class of his own. But as I said, he needs to test himself. And I think everyone can agree with that. I think that's one thing a lot of people are just disappointed at Mbappe, that at his age already, he hasn't moved on to a bigger club than PSG. Money talks. That's just straightforward. Money talks. Now, done about Mbappe, let's talk about Erling Haaland. Of course, Erling Haaland signed for Manchester City last year, won a treble, broke the Premier League goal scoring record, Golden Boot winner in the Champions League and the Premier League. And he is, as I said, Mbappe's the Messi of the future. Haaland is the Ronaldo. He's a goal scorer, out-and-out goal scorer, left foot, right foot header. I think the thing that separates Haaland from the other two is he's just a goal scorer. You don't really see him dribble much. He's got a few assists to his name. You don't see him do anything spectacular against defenders. You just see him score goals, which is his exact job, and he's world-class at it. But that's all he does. He's not an all-rounder. He doesn't need to be an all-rounder. You can replace him if you want to. Yeah, they might not get as many goals as him. I think what Mbappe and Bellingham bring is more of an overall game as to Erling Haaland, who is an out-and-out goal scorer, a natural 9, a bully in the box like a Drogba. He's everything you want in a striker. Bellingham and Mbappe have more versatility to them, more depth, a little bit more everything. They're world-class at everything, and I think Haaland is world-class at a couple things. I think that's the difference. Only if Mbappe leaves, I think Mbappe will be number 1. I think Bellingham will be number 2, and Haaland will be number 3. I could be wrong. That's what this series is about. I want to know what you guys think. And Andrew, let me know what you think about what I just said as well. If you agree or disagree, I'd love to hear from you as well. Bellingham will be better than Kylian Mbappe and Erling Haaland with time, and that is football hot take number 2. Now, the last football hot take, as I said, is from the world of football and what's been talked about in the recent week or two, And if you're a U.S. men's national team lover and follower, you would know what Josie Altidore has recently said on the CBS series called Kicking It, I believe. And it's with Kate Abdo, Clint Dempsey, Mo Adu, and Charlie Davis, where Josie Altidore is the most recent guest. And he said their generation USA team would beat today's generation. Now, let's break that down a little bit and why he said that. I definitely can see why he said that. And, you know, the world of football and majority has said that, you know, he's wrong and that's clearly not it. But I think there's an argument to be made, and I can see why he said that. But the game is completely different than it was then to now. Then it was a lot more physical. It was more tactics involved, which there's still tactics today, but it was definitely more physical in tactics, as is today. It's more technical and speed and precision. And there's a big difference than last generation's USA than this one. Josie Altidore did say the newer generation, talent, player by player, are probably and are better than them. But as a compact unit, a team, and depth, he thinks their generation is better. And his generation, let me clarify, is Josie Altidore, Clint Dempsey, Landon Donovan, Michael Bradley, Jermaine Jones, Tim Howard, those type of guys, those leaders. I think that's the difference in last generation than this one, which is what made the last generation, I guess, I wouldn't say more successful. I would just say they were more experienced because, you know, remember in 2009, they made it to a final of a Confederations Cup, which they probably should have won after beating a Spain team who then went on to win 3 back-to-back major tournaments. And then they were 2-0 up on Brazil at halftime, I believe, and ended up crashing out 3-2 losing. And then, of course, in the Copa America in 2016, which Christian Pulisic was on, but just as a youngster breaking through, they made it all the way to a semifinals, getting absolutely thrashed by Argentina 4-0 with a world-class free kick by none other than Lionel Messi. There's definitely more experience with the older team, but I think that's what the new generation is building on because they're playing in the Copa America next year. There's a lot more tournaments being involved. I mean, you're now seeing with USA now is an A team playing in certain tournaments and a B team playing in other, because you have the Nations League, you have the Gold Cup, you now have Copa America, World Cups. A bit of a variety now. Compared now, which there's no Confederations Cup anymore. I mean, of course, it's not possible, but I think that could be a really good game. It's 2 completely different USAs, though. Of course, the players like Christian Pulisic, Flo Balogun, Gio Reyna, Serginho Dest Timoya, talent-wise are way better than what you saw then. And honestly, what players then would make it into this generation USA team? I only think maybe 3 or 4 of them. I mean, Clint Dempsey's an obvious one, Landon Donovan, Tim Howard, even Jermaine Jones. I would happily take Jermaine Jones in this USA team now. But the difference in those 4 compared to the others that I didn't say, like Josie Altidore, they were successful in Europe. Tim Howard played for Manchester United and Everton. Landon Donovan played in Europe some, not as successful. Landon Donovan's probably the best player US produced from MLS standpoint because, you know, Dempsey played Europe, Michael Bradley played Europe, Tim Howard, Jermaine Jones, even Josie Altidore. But Josie Altidore, of course, wasn't as successful other than his time in the Netherlands with Alkmaar. It's a tough call, honestly. I think it's a very bold call, and I respect Josie Altidore a lot for saying that because I think he's got a fair argument. I genuinely believe he has a fair argument to say that. I think this is what the new generation is definitely looking for, is to be more experienced. That's why they're going to be in the Copa America next year before the World Cup. They want to play against the European teams and South Americans and all these type of teams. And let's be real here, ever since Greg Berhalter has taken over, it hasn't been successful playing against teams in Europe. We lost to Germany the other week. We lost to teams like Japan before and all these other big teams. And you saw the USA back then beating those type of teams, which for granted, all the countries, including ourselves, have gotten better since then. But I remember growing up watching USA comfortably beating teams like Poland. I remember them beating Italy. They beat Spain in the Confederations Cup, and they competed against teams like Ecuador and Colombia. You don't see this USA team playing teams like that. They've played teams like Ireland, Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan, those type of teams. Those are not the teams we need to be playing leading up to the Copa America into a World Cup that is on home soil. And if we want to make it to a semifinal, we need to get these guys some experience. Play those South American teams. Play some Uruguays. Play some Spains. Play some Portugals regularly. Don't be playing these wimp teams that are not at the level to be playing against. It's just not what we need for these type of players that we have. We have probably the best talent pool ever in U.S. history right now. And if we have ambition to go far in the 2026 World Cup, I know the ambition's a semifinal. Don't just make it a semifinal. Go for it. Go all the way. Win the thing. You're on home soil. This is the perfect opportunity. The Copa America's on home soil. The World Cup's on home soil. Go out there with a bang and give everyone what they want. Make yourselves proud and do well. That's what this team needs. We need some experience. I'm glad you're seeing players go overseas playing for big teams like AC Milan, Dortmund, in the Premier League, Serie A, all these big leagues. I'm glad to see most of our talent pools playing there. You're not seeing a bunch of MLS guys, which, no, nothing against the MLS, but you're only going to go so far there, right? My personal opinion, I think this Generation USA would beat the old generation, but I think that is a game. But the only way you're going to find out about that is if you simulate it on FIFA. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. What do you think of Jersey Out the Doors comments? Were they a little extreme or unfair, or is it completely out of the water? What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think about all the others as well. That is the beauty of this new series, depending on how you guys respond to it. And I love talking to you guys about football. I love conversations, and I love everything about today's game, and I just love talking about today's game, and that's the beauty of it all, is just spreading the love, right? Anyways, guys, that is it for today's video. Let me know in the comments, as I said, what you guys think about these hot takes, and let me know some of your personal hot takes, and I might just use them in the next few videos if we make this a series. As always, guys, like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Much love, guys, and I will see you all in the next one.